If you're looking to diversify your clientele, and if you want a challenge of learning how to cut new hair textures, this is the perfect video for you. He has one of the most unique hair textures I've seen. So stay tuned and see how the video turns out at the end. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna give him a hot taper on the sides and also in the back. And then we're gonna enhance this lineup at the end. So what makes his hair texture so unique is that his hair is actually straight, but the longer it gets, you see it curls up. So in the top, you can see that his hair is very curly, but on the sides, it's very straight. Right here, what we're doing, since we're doing a hot taper all around the head, we're just making our guideline. And as you can see, his hair is very blonde around his edge up and on his sides where his temples are. So that's why we're gonna add enhancements to his lineup at the end of this video. But stay tuned because it's very important to see how you fade this type of hair. So here we're taking the 1.5 guard, and this is the highest guard that we will use for this entire haircut. Basically what I'm doing is creating a blank canvas. And you see how I'm using the comb to move the hair out of the way because I don't want to cut into his locks. I really just want to cut the hair that's disconnected from it. That's why at the beginning of the video, you saw me use the clips just because I don't want to mistakenly cut any of his longer hair. And also, you can see with his front edge up, like I said, the longer his hair gets, it wants to curl up. So that's why you see me tapering down the front edge up with the 1.5. Okay, so now we're about to begin the fading process. Now, as you can see, his hair is very blonde, so it's kind of easy to get lost in the fading process. That's why you take haircuts like this one step at a time. So now drop down the lever and begin to fade under that guideline that I just made. So if you guessed it, the steps are still the same. You just have to pay attention because the hair is so light, you don't want to get lost with making your guidelines and blending out the guidelines. So I know some of you consistent subscribers, you probably already guessed the steps are the same, and you're exactly right. That's why I told you guys, no matter what hair texture, you still follow the same steps to get the same result. And then here we have on the 0 guard with the lever fully open. And we're gonna go up almost an inch, but not too high because you don't wanna make the hair too light. You don't want to take the taper too high. Even though it is a hot taper, you still want to have some transition in the taper. And then we're going halfway between that 0 open and 0 close. Okay, now we have the 1 guard and we're going to open the lever halfway to go under that 1.5 that we initially cut the hair down with. And of course, you can open and close the lever to get rid of any dark spots. But you see how we just did this? We're gonna repeat those same steps around the entire head. So what you just saw me do on the left side, I'm gonna repeat those exact steps on the back of the head. And with this back taper, you'll see once I begin to blend with the guards, I won't go up quite as high as I normally do, just because his hair is so light, I still want you to be able to see the edge up. on the neckline. So I'm gonna leave it just a little dark. But one thing I will tell you guys, do not get intimidated by hair. It doesn't matter if the hair is straight, curly, coarse, it doesn't matter. Like I said, if you follow the same steps and use the same approach, you will get consistent results. If I can't tell you guys anything else, that's what I want you to remember from these videos. Consistent steps will get you consistent results. And what I would recommend, if you can find models and then pull this video up and cut them at the same time, that will really help you, because experience is the best teacher. You can watch these videos all day long, but until you actually get someone in a chair and execute this haircut on them, you'll never be able to do the haircut. So that's what I recommend. I would definitely recommend you just pulling up this video, going step by step, and try to duplicate this exact same haircut. And you can see how I left where the edge up, where I'm going to edge his neck line up, you can see I left it a little dark. Okay, now I'm doing the same thing that I just did on the back and the left side, so I'm just gonna go through these steps rather quickly. But if you can't, see if you can follow along. And if you can, that's how you know that you're remembering the steps correctly. Okay, so now we're prepping the hair for the line up. And I'm using some holding spray to keep his hairline in place so the hairs won't move. And you see me blow drying it in place just so the hairs won't move. Okay, now when you're lining up this type of hair, you have to be extremely careful, because as you can see, the hair is very hard to see. So less is more in this instance. So make sure you can see what you're cutting. And that's where the holding spray comes into play also. And like I said, we're finding that natural balance between sharp and natural. Don't go digging into anyone's line. Just take off as little as you need to get it as straight as you can. And the more you cut, the easier it will get to find that balance. See, notice how I'm not digging into his hairline. I'm keeping it as natural as I can. And on this side, you can see his hair wants to curl up even more on the right side. So just, it's little things that you have to pay attention to when you're doing edge ups. Even though I cut it all even with the 1.5, this side still wants to grow a little differently. And you'll encounter things like that when you're cutting hair. That's the beauty of it also. Being able to make a masterpiece out of imperfections. Here we're just sharpening things up with the razor. and we're not going to exaggerate anything. We're not going to exaggerate it too high over his ear. We're just going to keep it and follow the natural rise of his ear. And when you're doing lineups over the ear, to me it helps to use the corner of the blade. See how I'm using my thumb to create tension? By creating that tension, you allow the razor to glide more easily across the skin. And always hold the razor at an angle, because you do not want to nick anybody. I can guarantee you that will be the first and last time you cut their hair, if you cut someone. Okay, so now we're about to enhance this lineup. So what I'm using is Kiss Express, and this is a semi-permanent hair color. Now with semi-permanent hair color, the molecules of the dye, they aren't small enough to completely penetrate the cuticle, so it more so stains the hair rather than penetrate the cuticle. So when he washes his hair, after a couple of days, it will fade and eventually wash out. But that's one of the pluses about being a barber. If you do a good job, they'll come back and keep getting the service over and over. So it's a win-win for you and the client. And one thing that I found with hair color, if you manipulate it with a comb or a brush, it will distribute more evenly. So don't just spray it and then try to line it up. Comb it through the hair to make it look natural. And as you can see, I'm not caking it on. I'm just literally lightly misting it on. And here I'm just locking it in with some holding spray. And here is the finished result, guys. So comment below, let me know what you think. If you're new to this channel, subscribe if you got value out of this video. And I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.